Welcome back to Zero Sum Gaming here at the Culture Cache. Chris from Nashville, Tennessee sent us a great little gem. It's one of my all-time favorite games, Mega Man X. I'm going to tell you straight up that it's easy to see why, but don't worry, I'm going to show you anyway. Let's check it out.
If you missed it, I wrote a fun article on theculturecache.com about the evolution from the Mega Man series to the Mega Man X series. It's a great primer to get you ready for some of the darker turns the X series takes. There's a link to that site in the description. Check it out when you get the chance. You'll notice some of these differences as soon as you boot up the system. Mega Man games are known for their graphical prowess, but the leap to 16-bit is immediately noticeable. Look at how rich the colors are. Check out the contrast. Personally, I'm always a sucker for parallax scrolling, and while the NES is capable of it, few games take advantage of it. This game uses it, and it looks great. As a side note, I just want to point out that Super Nintendo games generally age very well. I think the graphics have a lot to do with that. Yes, they are simple, but the look of 16-bit sprites is just timeless. That's not to say that 8-bit sprites don't have their charm. They do. But sprites from games like these look good, and I don't see that changing, really, ever. With a caveat. It is increasingly difficult to play these games as they were meant to be played. I strive to capture footage for you from the actual system and upload it in its highest native resolution, aspect ratio, and frame rate. If you want to achieve the maximum look for games like these, you really have to have a display that outputs these traits as well. Your fancy new 4K TV may look great. I know it does. The problem is that it's not built for older outputs like these. Do yourself a favor and play these older games on a CRT SD TV with S-Video hookups and a good stereo. Why a separate dedicated stereo? Simply put, the speakers built into the vast majority of televisions just don't measure up. Don't get me wrong, they're great for casual TV watching, but if you really want to experience all that your games have to offer, make sure your audio setup matches the best output possible for the game. This varies greatly from system to system. In the case of the SNES, stereo's really the best you can get, and today, a decent system is cheap and easy to find. It's less important to match the audio than it is the visuals, since you can easily hook up your Super Nintendo to a Dolby 7.1 surround system and not really create any major issues for yourself. Just make sure you don't downgrade. Granted, monaural TVs do exist, but come on, how often do you really see them? Besides, as we've established, you want your audio to go through a separate receiver anyway. Games like this were meant to be heard in stereo, so do it, especially for a game like Mega Man X. The audio on this game is amazing. You don't want to miss out on a single note of the soundtrack, nor do you want to fail to catch every single lovingly crafted sound effect. The music in this game sets the stage perfectly. Each track has its own unique mood. Right from the start, the title screen pumps you up. Chill Penguin's stage actually sounds cold. Storm Eagle's music makes you sound like you're flying somewhere at a very high rate of speed, half for fun and half to end some sort of crisis. The boss music is ideal. It has a sound of pressing danger with a simultaneous cartoony chase fight. It is the perfect complement to the look and feel of the game as a whole. While I've been working on this video for the last 2 weeks, I've been blaring the Mega Man X soundtrack everywhere I go when I'm in the car. I'm sure my wife has been loving it, but seriously, get this soundtrack. You don't have to go overboard and be a nutcase like I am. I imported the Rockman X soundbox from Japan. It's a 12-disc set of all the music from the entire Mega Man X series. It's expensive, but I had to have it. Still, a much cheaper alternative exists. Right now, you can go to Capcom's website and get the digital soundtrack for $9. Trust me, it will be 9 greenbacks well spent. I'm going to shut up for a sec and let you listen. It's not just that this game offers a more impressive audiovisual experience, but that it uses these features to drastically increase the subtle details that help make the game seem real. X is a Reploid, which is a robot with reasoning and free will. Doesn't sound very robotic to me. To help accent these human traits, X visibly appears more human than Mega Man. When your health is critically low, X has difficulty breathing. Not only does this make him seem more like a person, but also more like a living person. To top off this already impressive attention to detail, Capcom went above and beyond. Check out what happens when you're about to die on Chill Penguin's stage. They actually bothered to animate the condensation from X's breath. Believe it or not, but they even built points like this into the functional strategy of the game. Certain stages in this adventure can be altered in drastic ways by beating other bosses. Pay attention to what happens when you beat Storm Eagle. Did you catch that? The ship you are on is gaining altitude during the fight, but when you beat Storm Eagle, it plummets back to Earth. Where did it land? Spark Mandrill's power plant, which is now on the fritz. There's an intact and a damaged version of the power plant stage, and the one you play is determined by whether or not you have already beaten Storm Eagle. Similarly, Chill Penguin can freeze the factory level's molten metal, and Launch Octopus can flood the forest. In all three cases, the layout of the level remains the same, but how you traverse this truly changes the pacing of the game from the classic Mega Man formula. Well established by now, the normal Mega Man game has a giant rock-paper-scissors game attached to it. Each time you defeat a boss, whether it's a Robot Master in the original series or a Maverick in X, you obtain that boss's weapon. Each boss is weak to one or more other boss's weapons. From the start of the original series, you've always been able to play stages in any order you like. Part of the fun of Mega Man games is finding out which boss is weak to what weapon and then playing the game in an appropriate order. This game adds an extra layer to the free-flowing formula with the stage amendments. As mentioned, defeating Chill Penguin makes Flame Mammoth's factory stage much easier. However, Chill Penguin is weak to Flame Mammoth's weapon, the Fire Wave. Should you opt to beat Chill Penguin first and make Flame Mammoth's stage easier? Or should you go through the more difficult version of Flame Mammoth's stage to get his Fire Wave weapon to use against Chill Penguin? The choice is yours. Compounding this freedom yet again, Mega Man X has an extra layer of exploration. You will often be unable to acquire certain upgrades because you lack others. For example, in order to get the X-Buster upgrade, you must already have the boot and helmet improvements. Simply put, there is no way to get every single upgrade with only a lone trip through each stage. Because of this, as you get more familiar with the game, you can improve your own route through it by making it more efficient. Over the course of the game, you can find 4 sub-tanks, which are spare refillable life meters. They're basically the X-Series version of energy tanks from Mega Man. You can also find 5 suit upgrades, which increase your abilities. To increase your max life, there are 8 heart tanks, and finally, you pick up 8 weapons from the fallen Mavericks in the game. Of course, no discussion of a Mega Man game would be complete without talking about the weapons. In this game, they're above average. Storm Tornado and Flame Wave are my favorites. They each dish out multiple hits in rapid succession and allow you to dispatch most regular enemies and mini-bosses with ease. Rolling Shield and Chameleon Sting have some utility when charged up, since they let you slip through some tight spots. Other than that though, weapon uses are pretty situational. It's cool how the Boomerang Cutter can retrieve items for you like in a Zelda game, but as a weapon, it's not really that great. Honestly, I spend most of my time playing with the X-Buster, but I do get some good use out of the Storm Tornado and Flame Wave. However, left to my own, I almost never choose to go with any other weapons. Mega Man 2, for better or for worse, set an impossibly high bar for the series in terms of weapons. The metal blades in that game pretty much replace your Mega Buster once you get them. In this game, you can play through certain stages using only the Flame Wave, but I wouldn't call it an X-Buster replacement. It's just another option. The weapons in this game are fun to use, but generally they are very conditional in terms of true usefulness. The play control is spot on perfect. The additional buttons on the SNES controller allow you to cycle through your weapons on the fly, which keeps the pace of the game appropriately fast. You don't have to keep going back and forth into your menu, and it's awesome. I also appreciate that you can dash with the A button or by double tapping in a direction. This suits different types of players, and it gives you a choice. Frankly, if I'm holding a charge shot, I double tap. If I'm not, I press A. They both work very well. X always does exactly what you tell him to do, and he has such great agility that you feel like you can do nearly anything. Alright, I hear you. Sure, the window dressing is nice, but what about the meat and potatoes of the game? Believe me when I say that this game never fails to deliver in terms of gameplay. With the X series, as well as its ancestor Mega Man, Run and Gun is the name of the game, with some healthy platforming to round out the experience. All 13 stages offer unique settings, enemies, and challenges, so the gameplay is always fresh and exciting. The upgrades, especially those to your suit, contribute to your abilities in ways that are functionally useful while making you feel more powerful. The new wall jump maneuver expands your repertoire and lets the game explore the traditional 2D stages in a unique new way. Simply put, this is a game that is not to be missed. I play this game at least once a year. In fact, if ever I know that I want to play a game, but I'm having trouble deciding on one, I almost always choose either this game or Super Castlevania 4. They're kind of like my default games when I can't pick another. So, are there any actual negatives to this game? For the sake of argument, I'll nitpick so I can say I found some, but if I'm being honest, this is a nearly flawless game. Okay, the story's pretty repetitive, but they did at least try to do something different with this game. Still, if you see Mega Man X in the title, prepare to do battle with Sigma at some point, akin to Dr. Wily in the older Mega Man games. Let's see. Oh, I know. The game ends at some point. Does that count as it not being perfect? Seriously, I'm struggling to find anything wrong with it. Truly, the game really is that good. Wait, I think I did find one tiny thing that could possibly be called a negative. The difficulty of this game is significantly lower than that of the original Mega Man series. It's certainly not an easy game, but it is a cakewalk compared to, say, the first Mega Man. If you find the ultra secret Hadoken, you can use it to one-shot any enemy in the game except Sigma's final form, for example. In capturing the gameplay footage for this video, I actually ended up with a 100% completion 0 death run. If there's interest, I'll post it sometime. Granted, I do play this game often, and it's nearly second nature to me by now, but even then, I made plenty of mistakes, and the game is more than forgiving. Again, it's not an easy game, nor is this a true negative, but if you're looking for a game that's NES hard, this isn't it.
Man, wasn't that a great game? I'm here to tell you that if you haven't figured it out yet, this game is worth its asking price many, many times over. Right now it's going for about $32, but watch out, it has been trending upward for a little while now. It's kind of strange when you think about it, because this game is comparatively cheap. X2 and 3 both break the bank, they're well over $100 each. This is the better game, even though it's the cheaper game. You owe it to yourself to get this game any way you can, whether it's the original SNES cart, if it's on the compilation Mega Man X collection, or if you get it in one of the virtual console games. Don't miss this game. It really is that good. Whenever you get a chance, make sure you pick it up. Thanks for watching.
The war has ended for now, and peace has been restored. But those who sacrifice themselves for victory will never return. Oh yeah, that's right. We'll never see Zero again. We definitely won't see him again in X2, or 3, or 4, or 5 or 6 or 7 or X8. No, that'll never happen.